Today on the podcast, we are talking about robots, park cars, and is money being saved or is money, or too much money, should I say, being spent? Fame Money Podcast starts right about now.
Get your mind right. Get your mind right.
It's a brave mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fame Money Podcast. This is your boy Simbawi Nibai Jr., aka TK, along with my man Omar Williams. We call him O, and Denise Obi. We call her D Nice. Y'all say what's up to the peeps.
What's up, good people?
Hello, hello, hello.
It is another lovely Wednesday morning. Y'all know how we do. We get things started and popping early, but before we do, it is Affirmation Wednesday. So we're going to get our affirmations in and out the way. And if you got them written down, memorized, or whatever you got, let's get them going and make it do what it do. Are you ready? Here we go. Today will be a good day. Today will be a great day. Today will be an awesome day. Today will be an amazing day. Today will be a phenomenal. There we go. Today will be a stress-less day. Today, I will overcome all barriers that want to block my progress. Today, I will overcome all things, issues, and situations. Today, all things will line up for my good. I am a go-getter. I am victorious. I am triumphant. I am an overcomer. I never lose. I either win or I learn. I take authority over this day. I will dominate this day. I will conquer this day, and everything I have spoken into this day will happen as I have affirmed, because I am more than a conqueror. Let's get it started. So today we're talking about robots and part cars, and is it being spent too much on this, or is it, working out for the good? So let me just elaborate real quick. In China, they have what they call this robot parking mechanism. And what it is this robot parking mechanism reparks parked cars. And what happens is, instead of booting the vehicle, the robot simply rolls underneath the car, attaches itself to it, raises the car up, and then reparks the car in a different location. Now, I don't know where the location is, if it's nearby, if it's far away. I don't know. I saw this on Instagram, and I was like, kind of looked into it a little bit. And I said, it's actually a genius idea. But then I thought, well, how genius of an idea is it if they're parking your car just anywhere? Do they tell you where they parked your car at? Is there an app? How's all that work? So I thought it was interesting to just have the conversation, because rather than booting your car, giving you a ticket, which can cost a lot of money, of course, they just repark it for you somewhere. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Because I can tell you right now, in Philly, New York, LA, Chicago, all those big major cities, and then you have your high-end suburban areas that are like, hey, you can only park here for X amount of time before we gotta give you a ticket. This would be an excellent thing to have, because how many times have I gone to Philly? Well, technically, it hasn't happened to me. It happened to me once. But I had people who have told me, and people I've ridden with to Philadelphia, that they get tickets on their cars because they're parked somewhere where it says 2-hour parking only. And they don't know that because they don't live there. They don't know. It happened to me once. I was going to a conference in Philadelphia, and I parked in a neighborhood where I saw no signs that said how long you could park there, right? Parked in a neighborhood, decent neighborhood, got a lift from where I was parked at to go to this conference at this hotel. I think it was the DoubleTree or something like that. Came back probably about 3-4 hours later, and as the lift is pulling up to my vehicle, there is a traffic cop giving me a ticket as I'm pulling up. And I'm like, wait, hold up. I'm like, why am I getting the ticket? He's like, oh, well, you can only park here for 2 hours, then you have to move. I'm like, well, where's the sign that says that? He's like, oh, it's at the end of each street. Sir or madam, you can clearly see that I don't have a PA license plate. I'm not from around here. I'm not from this state to be exact. I'm like, where would I see that sign at if unless I lived here? And the explanation, you can tell, just kind of went south, right? So listen, I don't blame the traffic cop. They were doing their job, right? I don't blame them. I get it. Needless to say that whenever I go to Philadelphia, if I'm not parked in an area where I know the parking is great, I park in a parking garage. Plain and simple. Can't get a ticket there, right? Unless you decide to just, go through without paying, which I'm not doing. So what are you guys' thoughts on the robot parking mechanism that will move your car to a different location rather than you get a ticket, a citation, or get booted? What do you think?
I go. Okay.
Yeah, I was like,
I actually I like the idea. I mean, I got a similar story, but I won't get into it. But I like the idea that, like, if say I'm going to a conference in a big city that's overcrowded, because we know Philly and New York, like, these places are ridiculous with parking. If I can go to the front of that building and they have a robot that takes my car to another location, I might take that. And I don't know how I'm gonna get it back though. That may sound crazy, but I actually like the idea for a lot of reasons other than just parking. I think this thing can expand. 1, 2, if you're in unsafe places, it helps with that, right? Like, you go to an area that's not that safe, you can go park your car.
But why would you
safer
park
place.
there if it's not safe?
What'd you say?
Why would you
What'd you
park
say?
there if it's not safe?
yeah.
No, certain place. No, what I'm saying is, like, you may go to certain places.
Oh, and you don't know that it's not
Yeah,
safe.
it's like
Okay, I got you.
you may go to a conference, right? And it's at a place that's close to
Got you.
something
Okay.
that you don't. That's all.
Like,
Yeah.
like the White House. It's like you take
You
5 steps
got
out,
it.
you
You
in a
got
bad
it.
place, brother.
And a lot of other places we can name. Like, it's places that's like literally 2 minutes from where it goes down at.
Yeah.
But if you took a picture of the place, it looks nice. But, like, around the corner, where your parking spot usually is, around the corner, then you gotta walk all the way, right?
Yeah.
I like the idea. I think they're on to something. The only negative thing I can see right now is just a job loss. Maybe like a person that used to do it, a person that used to maybe drive their car and put it another place. But other than that, I think it works out, especially if they expanded more than just parking.
Okay. What you got, Denise?
I say yes and no. Yes, because I think, one, it can help alleviate like the stress for people when finding parking, especially in like areas you don't know, like you guys said, and um, kind of cutting down on, I guess, tickets. So that's a good thing. The only thing I can see going wrong with this is, how do they know like the location where to park the car? Like, is it so? Say if, like, for instance, say if I'm new to this job and I'm like, okay, type in where this robot should park, and I put in Houston, Texas instead of Houston, Delaware, and it's kind of like, oh, so why is my car on its way to Houston on the highway going down 95? Like, this robot is taking my car somewhere where I meant Houston, Delaware, because there's a Houston, Delaware. It's like, I'm going to Houston, Delaware, but I meant
That sounds
I'm going to Houston, Texas
that
instead of
sounds
Houston,
very
Delaware.
problematic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a bad look.
So
And that might be a little extreme, but I mean, you got a point.
you never
And
know.
Well,
again,
it can
Newark,
happen
New
with streets
Jersey.
though. Like, you can
Newark, New
want to
Jersey.
go
Oh,
to
yeah.
you can go to a such and such street in Newark, but you type in that same street and it's that same street is in Dover.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now your car's in Dover.
It's like take for example, Newark, New Jersey, Newark, Delaware. People get that mixed up
Right,
all the time.
right.
Like I've seen people book hotels for Newark, New Jersey, and they meant Newark, Delaware, and they're just like, oh, I didn't know there was another Newark so close by. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like my only drawback that they may need. I would want to see how they do checks and balances with that part of if I click on, hey, this city at this address, how do I confirm that this is going to Newark, Delaware, not Newark, New Jersey? But overall, I think it's a great campaign. I would be for it. Somebody move my car because I'm tired of feeding the city of Washington, D.C. and parking tickets and everything that goes on with that.
Listen, man,
So,
parking tickets, they're not cheap. Like they,
no,
Not
especially
at
in major
all.
cities, like they get you with them parking tickets.
DC, yeah.
All right. So yeah, DC, New York, Philly, Chicago, LA. I mean, even down in Texas. I mean, any big major city, they're gonna get you. Now, back to Denise's thing about Houston, Texas versus Houston, Delaware, or whatever. Again, we haven't done all the research, but just that the idea of it was very interesting. But I personally don't think the robots can go that far, to be honest. But I could be wrong. At the same time, that almost looks like a self-driving vehicle. So I might, as a police officer, I might pull that thing over and be like, hey, I got a self-driving vehicle going down the highway. What's going on here? Yada yada yada. I don't know. It just seems a little far-fetched that would happen. But again, you just never know. Like, it is technology, and technology does what it's told to do. Information in, information out. So it is that could possibly happen. Second thing is, again, I think I said it before, I'll say it again. You got to make sure when you're talking about Newark, Delaware, and Newark, New Jersey, you got to make sure you say them correctly. Because listen, people in Newark, Delaware, do not want to associate themselves with Newark, New Jersey, because they just like, no, we're Newark. Newark. I apologize. I learned that the hard way. So just saying, I want to put that out there. Being from Jersey, we don't care, but in Delaware does care. So a little side note. The other thing too, as far as listen, I'm for it. If it's going to save me money, I'm for it. And as long as it's efficient and it works. The other part of that is that, again, I may not know where my car is being parked. Now, I said before, I don't know if there's an app so you can download it and have it, or they send you an email saying, hey, we parked your car here or whatever. I don't know how that works. So you guys out there in, Fairmont Inkland podcast, check it out and let us know what the deal is, because we don't know yet. But the fact they're actually doing this, they're saving people money, I think, first of all, from not giving them tickets, citations, or booting them. The last thing I want to do is get booted, because now I can't move my car at all. If I get a ticket, I can at least still move my car. If I get booted, I'm not going nowhere. Now I got to actually get a Lyft or Uber or whatever to get where I got to go, and it costs me more money to get where I got to go. So that's another thing. But I think overall, it's a good idea from a technological standpoint. Just the ins and outs of it of, okay, how far is too far to park a vehicle? Is there any discrepancies of putting in an address that may say Broad Street here, or is it Broad Street over there? Is it Houston, Delaware, or is it Houston, Texas? You know what I mean? Things of that nature. So I think those are legit questions to ask. Another question I will ask here is that it appears, doesn't appear, it actually is, that our Asian counterparts are years ahead of us in technology, right? So do you think that it's something that America would adopt in the future, either near or far future? Would America adopt this idea of having a robotic parking meter technology moving cars rather than giving tickets, citations, or booting? I think I know what everyone's answer is, but I'm going to let y'all answer for yourselves.
I feel like I'm like America, brother. If it ain't making dollars, it don't make any sense.
If it
So
ain't making dollars, it ain't going to happen.
and unless the government owns these robots, where there's a tax getting paid to have it, they're not letting no private entity come in, take that over, so they can stop doing citations and boots and parking ticket. No, they're not going to do it. We'll be in the Stone Ages until until they can figure out a way to make money off the robots. That's my opinion.
Okay. Denise?
I would say I think with America being late to the party sometimes with stuff, I could say they may do it, but they may do it in like the smaller cities. Like they're not gonna do it in LA, but they may do it in some small town in Texas that maybe it necessarily isn't a popular city, but it gets a lot of traffic or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be like their way of, okay, let's try this. The major
Mhm.
cities, absolutely not. Like LA, New York, no. Because that's how they make their money. They have to make their quota. And they're
Yeah.
like, some robot comes in and takes it. No,
Yeah,
that's not
can't
happening.
do it.
Not gonna do it.
Well, if you ever watched Saturday Night Live and Dana Carvey, he was acting like, I think it was Ross Perot. He's like, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, again, America, we're just a little different over here. You know, if it's not making money, we're not trying to hear it, right? So, unless you're trying now, here's a thought, and you can talk talk on this, but as far as stock market goes,
Mhm.
if that was an entity they could get into with these robots, how does that change things? Like, let's say, or let's say
Yeah,
this:
what are you saying? Okay.
America makes their own version
Okay.
of the robot. Now we're talking about, okay, well, now we own these. We're not getting them from someone else. Now, how does that change the game?
No, by all means, if they make their own and they send it out to the cities that need them, and the cities pay them a little bit, a little kickback to the federal government. Yeah, but we'll have them tomorrow if that's the case. Like, I think that affects everything. But again, if you do the stock market, if you're asking me the stock market way, I just don't know how. I mean, a private company can do it, but I just think they're going to have to cut around a lot of red tape
Mm,
and get a lot of lobbyists. If you know the political game,
mhm,
to push it. It's kind of like Uber. I don't know if you know their story, but they had a lot of pushback and they
mhm.
had to get a lot of government help to
Yeah.
get where they are now. You know what I'm saying? So
Any thoughts on
that's
that,
Uber.
Denise?
Yes, I was gonna say, I just lost my train of thought. But
Right.
yes,
I'm back to
I
you.
think I agree with O as well. Also, I think what they're gonna do is instead of necessarily making it to move the vehicles, they're gonna like track like the say you put your money in for like an hour. If you go over an hour by 1 minute, they're gonna send the robot out, make it read the meter, and then okay, tow the car, pick it up, take it here instead of booting it. Pick it up, take it to the garage, take it to this location.
Oh,
And that I think they're gonna put their own spin on it
you flipped
too.
the script.
Yeah, because they're gonna be like, we have to make money. How do we make money out of this? And that's what they're gonna do. That's what I
See,
think.
this is why we have DNS in the show. She comes up with, now listen, I hope you don't take your idea and use it. So,
Hey,
That's
we
a
have it
great idea.
recorded. We have it recorded. And I have two witnesses.
oh man. So she said they not only will they move the vehicle, it will tow the vehicle. So now that opens a whole other can of worms now.
All right.
Because now, if the robots are capable of towing, that puts other tow truck drivers out of business.
Out of business.
But if it's making you money, you know how America does. It's like, hey,
Bring it.
sorry, not sorry.
Right.
So that's another aspect. You know, how many tow truck drivers are now going to lose their jobs if that's the case? But we're just hoping that they don't use Denise's idea if they decide to make their own. and use that aspect, because
I
now
need my cut.
that's not necessarily helpful, honestly, because now you have, all right, you're a minute over your time. They send the robot out. It tows your vehicle. So now you're paying for the tow, the time you were over. It just starts to stockpile, which to a large degree sounds like America, right? So listen, we're just being honest and truthful. Like it's not a secret. Like, right? Like we know that we like to make money in America by any means necessary, depending on who you are, who you work for. Yeah. Like we get that.
Right.
All right. And listen, we love living in America. We believe it's a great country to live in. So, but we listen, everyone has their flaws or their error, and that's okay. Like it just is the way it is, right? Like we're not putting America on blast or anything like that. It's just kind of the truth of the matter, right? So
Can I add to that real fast?
Yeah.
Just real quick. I'm gonna shoot America some bail, right? Certain countries, because of how they're ran and certain type of governments that they have, make new technology easy to implement. The way we're ran, democracy, people got to vote on it. There's a million people that get considered. Some of these other countries say we're putting it in. I don't care what they do. Well, I don't care what the people
That's
think.
true. That's true.
So if 50,000 people are a casualty of these new parking things, well,
Yep.
you know, America don't play that. Like we're trying to make sure it's not going to harm anybody. They want to do it. They want to do it the so-called right way. Some countries just don't care, so
Right.
they can implement things faster rather than wait around and wait to see who approves. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just shoot
Yeah.
us a little bell.
Yeah. I mean, no, but that's true. I mean, let's take that. Let's take the bail. Let's take it.
Yeah.
Let's do that. All right. I mean, we're concerned in that way. And listen, we're not, bad mouthing any other countries that do that. Like different countries are just ran differently. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
That's it.
it's just the way it is, how things, or as someone says, that's how the cookie crumbles. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
that's how things go. Any other thoughts on the robot parking technology that we want to leave with people? Because not a long podcast, but I think overall, if you want to look this up, I mean, it's easy to find on and just Google it. Really, honestly. Again, we don't have all the information, but we thought it was something to talk about, a great topic, because it's not happening here, right? It's happening somewhere else, and the technology is, again, years ahead of where we are. And the questions are like, hey, does America want to use this? How's it working out in China? Is it cost effective? Is it costing more money? Because you put money in the technology that you have to use on a daily basis. People are losing their jobs. Is that the question? Is it something that's helping out economically? Like, there's a lot of questions. So if you want to dive into it, feel free to check it out on your own. And if you like, get back to us and let us know what you guys find out. We'll look into it too. But if there's a part 2, which I doubt there will be, but if there is, we would love to have a part 2 and say, hey, this is what we found out. This is what we got. This is what we're looking at. I wouldn't put it past America, I'd say 5 years from now, to try something on their own, to be honest. I wouldn't put it past them. Now, whether it succeeds or not, that's here nor there, but I wouldn't put it past us to try, at least. You know what I mean? But again, it's got to be something that makes money. Like, it just can't be something that just works and doesn't make money. It's got to work and make money as well. That's just kind of what we do. It is what it is, right? Any last words? Any last thoughts?
I think if they can figure out how to get this technology for longer distances, I think it's a game changer as far as travel goes. And if you and for the audience listening, if you haven't seen how it works, you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, if you look at it, if they can figure out how to get my car from here to North Carolina, and I'm laying back in the car with my family like this, and it's just going game changer. Game changer. Yeah.
Denise, what you got?
All I can say is make sure you park in the right spots because you never know.
Last
Here
thing
today, gone tomorrow.
Last thing I'll say is this: be careful where you park at in the airport. If this comes out, that would be a tragedy. Because that's right now, it's great they have parking spots, in airports now. You have these, especially your bigger airports, You have these parking lots you can park in. The bus comes and gets you, takes you to the airport, right? But if you're parking your car in a particular area, and let's say, for instance, Philadelphia Airport, right? There's a parking deck right by the airport, right? Yeah. Denise, you've been there. Oh, you've probably been there too, right?
Yeah.
So
For sure.
if you park in the wrong spot or the wrong section, that's a problem. If they tow your vehicle and they have this robot towing it, it could end up anywhere. And now you're like, where's my car at? Well, the robot moved it. Where? Philadelphia Airport's a big airport. Atlanta Airport, big airport. Probably one of the biggest ones I've been to. Orlando, big airport. That could be very problematic if that happens. So another little nugget to throw in there. So that's all I got to say. Well, that's the podcast for today, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Continue to think it, speak it, and achieve it. And until next time, for myself, Denise, and O, we holla. Thank you for joining the Frame of Mind Inc. podcast. And as always, here at Frame of Mind Inc., think positive thoughts, say positive things, and do positive deeds. As our tagline says, think it, speak it, achieve it. See you next time.
It's a frame of mind. It's what you say and what you do.
Don't forget to check us out on the web at www.frameofmindinc.com, where you can browse our online apparel store, listen to some of our original music and production services, as well as view our videos and projects we've done for our clients and customers.